All right, Toby. So, everyone just joining the W Sports Podcast Live, all of our million of listeners out there on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for joining. We do have a couple extra people with us today, some special guests, and we'll get into that here in a second. But welcome to the show. What's your nickname going to be?
I think you gave me a nickname I can't get out of, so I should say it.
What's your nickname? All right, you're going to have to mute your computer too. You gave me a nickname. Okay.
You're on YouTube, right?
I'm on YouTube live.
Streaming it.
I'm watching you, Tubby.
There we go. All right, so give us the name.
Pear Bear, I guess is what you guys call me. Yeah.
Love it.
I respect it.
I don't.
It's a good one.
Pear Bear.
Tubby, what do you think? It's too soft.
I like it. I like it.
Too soft. No, you're like a grizzly bear.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm Tubby. I mean,
Live it. Let's go.
So,
All right, what do you want to go by?
Robert knows me as, and everyone does, Dro the Bro.
Dro the Bro. I like it. Yeah.
Joe the Bro.
All right, so
What?
everyone joining again. We got Dro the Bro, we got Pear Bear, and always with us is the one and only Tubby. Welcome to the show, Tubby.
Let's go, Dubs.
What's up, guys?
Man,
Look, he's got a Tubby hat on.
that's that classic Tulsa Drillers look.
Oh.
He said,
Yes.
AA affiliate.
What are you drilling down there?
Oil.
Just asking. Oil?
Oil.
Yes. So we were off last week, which was kind of a bummer, but
Shark Week, right?
Just Shark Week. Yeah, we celebrate Shark Week privately. We just watch all the shark videos.
Did you?
I did actually.
I mean,
Oh,
he
I
had
had
a shirt
family
off in
too.
every commercial.
I had
Mo is looking good. Actually, he looks thicker than normal. Should we talk about this?
who are we talking about?
Jason Momoa, he's put on some dad bod weight.
It's water weight.
Water.
Oh.
Yes, for sure.
Nice. Nice job.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was ready for it. No, so we're back, and it is, believe it or not, this is the end of season 2. Did you guys know that? We're gonna be turning 3 next Monday.
Seriously?
3 will
Yep.
be our
Congrats
third year.
to both of you guys.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. So we're gonna make it. We made it. You see, the first 2 years is the hardest. You
Is
know?
that what they say?
All right. Well, for those, and I'll do this intro twice, so hopefully that's okay. So anybody joining us YouTube Live, our chat probably won't be as active on our side of it from the W Podcast because I can't respond because my laptop is a little bit further away, and I can't make Pear Bear keep getting up and down.
Dude, I'm going to respond.
He's on it.
All right. So if you see Pear Bear in the chat, he is going to be responding for us.
All
So
over it.
There we go. Let's go. I appreciate it. Let us know if you see something in the chat, like a question.
Well, what I do see on mine, since this may or may not be my work computer, but it says approved for students at blank school that I may or may not teach at. And I'm not going to because Alejandro and I are bringing the PG-13 or PG-17 rating tonight.
13.
PG-13.
13.
Is that one cuss word?
13.
Oh.
Just think,
Have you heard my 13-year-olds talk at school? Because
how do you want them to talk?
well, okay, so that's a different question.
Did you like that?
Yeah.
So, for those that are watching right now, the reason why we're having a couple of guests because it's the end of season 2, you got to do something special. But also, the W Sports Podcast every year we put on a couple things. One is a fantasy football league, which yes is happening this year, and then we will review that fantasy draft on the podcast. So look forward to that this month. And then we also put on a March Madness tournament. That's one of the things. And here are 2 of the champions. We flew them in from out of state. They are here for the podcast.
Out of state.
Kansas!
My Uber was almost late from the airport.
Well, what are you gonna do? You could take the bus. It's free.
I could, yeah. Well, I don't know why we're in this town.
That's true.
So, yeah, I'm just glad to be here.
Water's all right.
So, Dro the Bro, what did you win?
Well, I won somehow won the NCAA March Madness contest for the
Somehow.
W Sports Podcast.
Do you remember what team you picked to win the championship?
Oh, yeah. No.
Tell me, can you tell us who won March Madness?
Who won it all this year? Oh gosh, do I even remember now?
Dude, that's what I'm feeling too. I know it wasn't Kansas because everybody.
It was UConn. Was it UConn?
Okay, yeah, I think it was UConn.
Yes.
Yeah, you were the only person who picked UConn. That's why you won. You literally had no chance. And
Do
then
you want to
last
know
night-
how that happened?
I would love to know.
See, what I was like, man, first round picks, I'm going to pick all these different teams. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I got to pick like 7 more times. Auto pick. And UConn came up. And I said, you know what? This sounds good. And no one believed me.
Yeah, and here we are.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. So now you got a podcast. Welcome to Be Famous.
Thanks.
Because of an auto pick.
It could have been Maris.
It's so
Shout out.
close. We could have had, Maris. Also an out-of-stater, a fan. Now, Hair Bear,
Yes, sir.
you're on the show because you won something else.
Yes, sir. I won probably a much bigger prize. I won the NFL Fantasy Football League.
That's right.
I heard he came in second.
No.
Wasn't it a tie?
No. I won outright.
No. So, Tubby, last year, because you remember last week 17 of the NFL season, how because of the whole situation with the Bills-Bengals, the game. So, as a commissioner, you're just like, well, what do? There's no perfect answer. And so I left it up to the two winners, and it was two guys. Hair Bear obviously was one of them, and you were down like 20 points.
Yes, right around there.
Yes, and so I said we can either take the scores from the next game or whatever, or we can just call it a tie. And I because there's money involved here, so not a huge pot, but something. And so they decided to split the pot after the game. I still was going to declare a champion based off of the following week stats. The money just didn't matter at that point. And so Hair Bear won by 0.2 of a point.
0.2.
Wow.
Jamar Chase. Yep.
Jamar Chase.
Yep.
So can you tell us how will you defend the title this year?
So I was taught a lesson by my parents a long time ago is that when things are going great, it's okay to step aside and let others that are trying to achieve greatness, give them that opportunity.
You're not getting inducted.
I can make this all about me. And I can run this back, or I could retire all-time champion. So I am taking the humble route of retiring all-time champion, taking a step back and letting you have a chance next year.
You auto-picked your players too. Didn't
No,
you?
I didn't. No. And coincidentally, my first pick in the entire draft was Jamar Chase because I picked like 9th out of 14th, something like that.
It was a good party though.
All the top players are gone as far as quarterbacks, so I'm like, all right, here we go, Jamar.
I know. So retiring all-time champ.
Yes.
I mean, he's 1 for 1. We do have a guy who's won it 2 years.
I don't know, but has he lost?
Has he lost in the championship? No, he's 2 for 2. He's like
He's batting 500. I'm batting 1,000,000%.
Batting 1 million.
so.
There's the baseball.
So what did you say the humble title of what all-time champ?
I'm retiring all-time champ.
So Tubby, this is up to you. Can he switch his name from Hair Bear to all-time champ?
I'll allow it.
Okay, that's fine. That's
Tubby,
fair.
I'm coming to Tulsa, and I'm going to drill. I'm going to get a driller hat, and I'm going to hug you.
Yeah. So, since then we've had a lot of sports happen, a lot of sports stuff. So Tubby, what do you want to start with today? And we can before we hit record, or we can just hit record. I think I had a lot of time since we didn't have last week. We can just hit.
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot to talk about. I mean, we got trade deadline in tomorrow. We got training camp started. Got Colorado to the Big 12.
Dude,
I mean,
I have
you can kinda-
one big thought on that, but I'm excited about it.
you can kind of just pick and go wherever we want.
All right. What do you guys have any? You're all the guests. We'd love to host you all well.
There's a lot happening in the disc golf.
Oh my gosh!
There
This
is.
is the guy that always asks us.
I'm the one in the chats, Tubby, that's like, hey, disc golf. Nerd.
Hey, I played pickleball for the first time the other day,
Come on now.
and not too bad. My knees hated me the next day, but it was fun. It was stupid hot, but it was fun.
Oh, you go on its outside courts. Ugh.
Yeah, no, it's Claremore, America. We ain't fancy enough to have an indoor pickleball court.
That's true. Maybe you can invest. That could be your thing. Indoor pickleball. They say it's a great, fast-growing sport, so that might be the thing.
Yeah, maybe.
It is right up there with disc golf.
Yeah, that's true.
It is, yeah.
Disc golf has a national platform. Did you
It
know
does. They got major sponsors people don't understand. Nike, Adidas, Ford. Like, there's a lot of big hitters getting ready to jump into disc golf.
Yeah.
$1 million contracts going left and right to these young players.
With your knowledge on it, I feel like you should design a course.
It's funny you say that. I'm actually just finishing up the first full design with me, building it out. The post just went in the ground this last week, and it'll be open. I think by September 1st is our date to open up the new course.
How many sand traps?
Well, the whole thing's a sand trap. Just one big sand. Now it's 18 holes. It's at a middle school. not typical. There's a lot of woods, hills, ticks.
So you're telling me to bring extra discs?
You know, let's just talk about Major League Baseball. Do they have to worry about Lyme's disease? No.
I think only in Colorado because they have the woods in the batter side.
True.
True.
You go out there in the evergreens and jump around.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. No. So anyway, there's disc golf. I won't bore you, James. James hates disc golf. Everybody listening,
Everybody.
I think he said he hates it worse than cornhole, is what he said.
Whoa.
Don't know.
Whoa.
That's a professional sport.
I would rather play disc golf if it's an easy course.
Oh, okay. All right.
You don't like to work hard?
I don't want to lose 8 discs and get ticks. I don't know if that's worth it.
You're gonna get ticks.
All right, how about this, W? How about we go ahead and hit record here in a
Yep.
second, and we'll start with football.
Yeah.
As your game for that.
Yeah.
And that's what most of the viewers love anyways is football. And then we'll wrap it up with some baseball. So let me get my notes ready because I'm on my laptop.
So I might go on a little rant when it comes to the NFL.
Ooh.
Okay.
If you saw, I mean, it was in the notes, kind of.
Yeah.
So-
Did you see the title of last week's episode, Toby? Or 2 weeks ago?
Maybe.
Things got heated. It was because of
Oh,
the
okay,
whole,
Yeah.
Coach Prime situation.
Yeah.
I'd love to know. We'll get there. Okay. All right, get this. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Welcome everyone to the W Sports Podcast live on YouTube as we go. And guys, you want to check out YouTube right now because we have some special guests. I'm going to get to the intros here in just a second, but you got to get into it. Go over to YouTube, make sure you subscribe. But Tubby, welcome back to the show, man. We missed you last week.
I miss you. I mean, a lot happened, and we didn't get to talk about it. So now I'm ready to just kind of spew it all out now.
I know, 100%. I've been talking to my car radio way too much last week about sports because that's the person that's listening. So,
yeah,
not sad at all.
Is that like the only station you get?
yeah. My car only gets AM radio. So you're hearing an extra voice or two here on the podcast. That's because we have 2 special guests. This is 2 of our winners in some of the W Sports Podcasts contests, fantasy football leagues, tournaments, whatever you want to call them. So March Madness tournament. It's going by Dro the Bro.
Come on now.
Here. And so welcome to the show, man. We're glad you're here.
Thank you. I'd like to thank AutoPick.
Yes, yeah. On YouTube, yeah, you revealed your secret to success on March Madness. So everyone, make sure you go watch that so you can know how to win next year.
Come on now. Take some notes.
Yeah, and before this, you're the biggest what team fan that won? Do you remember what team won?
Oh, yeah. It's UConn, right? No.
All right, and then over here we also have the one and only champion of last year's the W Sports Podcast, a very good fantasy football league.
And some would say the best champion in the last year.
Some,
of the league for sure.
Some would say. Yeah, and he was going to go by Hair Bear, but however, he petitioned Tubby to change his name, so now you're going to be known as
Grizzly Bear.
No.
What are you going to go by now?
Adderall Bear.
I believe that it was. We're getting lost in translation. I'm not sure who wrote it down wrong, but it is all-time champ. Apparently.
All-time champ.
All-time champ.
Yes.
So, welcome to the show, man. We're glad you're here.
Thanks, James.
Yeah.
Good to be here.
You a Royals fan?
You know what? I heard that this was a predominantly baseball podcast for a lot of the summer because other sports are off. So I went and bought this Kane County. I don't know if you can see that. Kane County.
Royals hat.
Oh, Royals. Well, there you go.
King County.
Yes.
It's a crown hat. King hat. Yeah, that's good. Now, who are you repping? Because we got Royals apparently, or King County hats.
Well, I put on a good old Chiefs. Los Jefes.
Los Jefes. Yeah, we are in Chiefs Kingdom here, running it back for another Super Bowl champion. Of course, you know me, got the Cardinals who are terrible this year, so we're going to move past that. And then you got the Tulsa Drillers, the Dodgers affiliate, and the Dodgers are making some moves, so you got to be feeling pretty good.
I'm feeling a little okay. I would still like to see a few more trades go through.
Maybe Jack Flaherty?
Maybe. I think I'm more geared towards Justin Verlander.
Well, that is a team that could definitely get it done. And you all have the prospects for it, too. So.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, the trades they've made have been kind of, decent, but not great. I don't know if it really helps them a whole lot.
Yeah. Well, we'll get there. So I think, how about today? Let's start with some college football because it's literally July 31st. The calendar flips tomorrow to August, which means it's the first month of college football that we've had. And I don't know how long, since what, January?
At least 2 months.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and do that. So the biggest news that we missed so far, while not being able to record last week, was in fact the Pac-12 is losing a member and the Big 12 is gaining an old member back.
Love it.
Colorado Buffaloes.
Love it.
You love it.
Love it.
Okay.
Love it, man. If you're from Kansas City, you understand that Colorado was a massive part of the Big 12, the Big 8 before that, and having them back in the fold, I think strengthens everything. And everybody who is older like me has emotional ties to the old guard. And when that all blew up a few years back, a decade or so ago, you had lost a lot of people because then we had less teams, number one, and then we had obscure teams jumping into the Big 12.
West Virginia.
Yes, well, yeah, and ones that like we previously hadn't cared about. So to have, then you got ties to the NFL such as Bieniemy, Cordell Stewart. A lot of people my age, man, are loving this step here. It's great. You got Neon Dion coming in. I love that personally.
Let's go.
Bringing the high, yeah, it's
Got
going to be
Coach
awesome.
Brian Hyde train over here.
100%.
Okay, I love it. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I was just thinking, thank you for bringing history into this with us, Barry, because
Yes.
we really can learn a lot.
Well,
Oh,
no, we did write everything down on the caves right outside that,
And it said, bring back Colorado.
just so you know, Bucks would know.
You know, I just want to say it's about time.
it's about time.
That's it.
Thank you. Yeah, tell me. I mean, so a couple weeks ago, I mentioned how outside of OU in Texas, I think most teams had on average one media member at Big 12 Media Days. Now, OU in Texas, obviously leaving for the SEC next year. Is anybody going to be there? Is it going to feel like the MAC or the SWAC or any of those, smaller conferences? Not with Coach Prime. Coach Prime coming is going to bring the media next year too, and it's a conference that's still winnable. And I think we'll have more respect on it once they kind of get settled in versus a Pac-12 that won't have. I mean, it won't have USC or UCLA. So, that's my thought. I'm excited about it.
Yeah,
Yes,
no,
sir.
I think it's a great move, honestly, for the Big 12. With losing Oklahoma and Texas, you lose a lot of the prominence of the Big 12. Now you bring back a team with Deion Sanders, all the hype with him, bringing him back into bringing them back into the Big 12. I think it helps kind of keep them somewhat in the limelight until we see what can happen with Coach Prime, if he succeeds or fails or whatever happens. But I think it's great for the Big 12. Pac-12, sorry. You're basically done now.
I think at best they can get like a San Diego State or something like that, or maybe Boise State if they really tried to push hard. I just don't think that they can fill that gap. I think this is the oldest conference, and it's going to die.
But I texted you and I said, I watched 3 years. The Pac-12 and the Mountain West will be one conference.
Yeah, and that's true of the team. Yeah, so that makes sense. Yeah.
Is there a chance that Oklahoma or Texas backs out of that contract, or like there's zero chance?
Too much money.
No-
Too much money in the
no
SEC.
shot.
I know there's a lot of money in the
TV
SEC.
dollars.
I know it's hard to compete with that.
Yeah, I was watching a video about the Big 12, the history of it, just because I was curious, and going down YouTube rabbit trail, and they talked about how in the 80s the conferences switched, that they wanted to get more TV sets. Like that was the thought process around it, is more media deals to get in more television sets so you can get more money because they wanted more broadcasting and all that kind of stuff happen. And it's weird how it's still no different now. It's just the dollars are just massive.
Speaking of dollars, I don't know if you know this, Alejandro, or if you can see it, Tubby. James has velvet on the inside of his ear cushions. I have plastic. I have like those old car seats, and it's sweating and sticking to my ear. Like my grandma's couch when I would sleep on it in the summer, and she had that plastic covering. This dude's got velour.
It does. It is nice. And I've got to tell you,
Must be nice.
I'm sorry. I just wanted you to go down memory lane.
Dude, I won fantasy football, and he gave me these earphones. I'm sweating over
I
here.
won fantasy football, and all I got were these headphones.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
It could be a good shirt, but only if you come back.
Yes, 100%.
To the league.
You're going to come back?
No,
To the
on the podcast. Yeah, I'm back.
Oh, we have. All right.
Now-
Any other thoughts though on the Big 12? I mean, is there another team that they're going to go out and get? They've talked about Arizona State. I really don't see either of those being that big of a win. It sounds very similar to like an Iowa State. Like it's good, but it's just not that. I mean, Iowa State's been better recently than either of those teams.
Yeah.
Or K-State.
One more quick thing. Did you see what Dan Lanning said about Colorado leaving? They asked him in a press conference, I think today, and he was like, what was your reaction? He said, I didn't have much of a reaction. What have they done? What have they won in this conference, to do anything? And then he's like, I don't know. Do you know? I don't remember them winning anything. So, I mean, I think that kind of.
Well, they've had a decade of a losing record, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, time in the Pac-12, I think it's 2 winning seasons, and I believe one of those was the 2020 COVID year where there's like 6 games. So
yeah, Steven Montez was the quarterback. Yeah, but answering your other question, yeah, I think Arizona right now seems like the most buzz going around is that Arizona would be the other team. I did read something, how much of that is true or not, that back in May that the president and the athletic director of Utah actually met with some of the Big 12 higher ups in Texas, like out of nowhere. And so now they're starting to get a little buzz that maybe Utah is another team that could possibly go. And, that's something we've talked about the last couple of months, that if I was to take the 2 teams, knowing that Oregon and Washington probably aren't going to come, that they're going to go, more than likely to the Big Ten, that Utah would be the next likely team because of BYU. Utah is such a big rivalry.
Yeah, 100% agree. Like that would be the tiers: Oregon, and then Washington, and then Utah for sure.
Do both basketball and football come over as a package with these deals?
Yes.
Yeah.
Typically if it's like a bigger conference, they will all the sports will transfer over, unless, say, like Oklahoma, when it comes to wrestling, there's no SEC wrestling. And so they'll actually probably stick in the Big 12 for wrestling. So it's some of those obscure sports like that they won't, but all the major prominent ones like baseball, softball, basketball,
I was thinking
disc golf.
Yeah. Hey, I bet Oklahoma's a good bass fishing team. Texas always thinks they're going to be
Arkansas.
And they're always yeah. All right, so we got the SEC Pac-12 media days. I didn't have a whole lot. Again, it's so tough because most of these just have homer reporters and stuff like that. I always am interested to see what Lincoln Riley says about whatever it is. I know they talked to Caleb Williams. Did you see what Caleb Williams said about losing to Tulane last year in the Cotton Bowl?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, we didn't want to be there. You think?
Yeah,
that's
you didn't want to be there.
Lincoln Riley game right there.
And see, that right there just tells me how much of a competitor he really is, though. I mean, I don't care what kind of bowl game it is. You're, in one of the, New Year's 6 bowl games. I'm showing up to play. Pride-wise, I want to go out there. I want to win. I don't care who's playing against, whatever. And for you to say that, I think is kind of a little excuse for the reason why you lost. But I think it's kind of just, terrible take, and shows kind of your character.
Game's to him anyways.
that's what it sounds like. Which team was better? Looking back in the history, and this is going to be a bad memory for OU fans. Boise State when they beat Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl versus Tulane. Boise State or Tulane? Which team was better?
Boise State.
Yeah, but so if it's like a boxing scorecard, like 10-7, is it 9-8? I mean, is it close? How close would you put it?
That's tough. I would probably say it's. That's tough to really say. 10-8 maybe. I mean 9. It's a little bit, but there is that somewhat more of a gap, because I think the way that Boise State played, they were a team that probably could have threatened a lot of teams in college football in that era. Now Tulane, I think last year they were a good team, and it was a heartfelt team that everyone wanted to see go out there and beat USC, but
we did.
They played against an awful defense, and you put them against a lot of those other teams in the New Year's 6 bowls or whatever, and they probably don't survive that game or even be much of a puncher's chance.
Yeah, that's a good point. And So last year, I think going into it, was it Michael? What's his name? Michael Pratt. Is that his name for Tulane? Right.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, "Yeah, he's great. He's going to have a good bounce back year." And then he proved it. He had a really good year. He's got a lot of hype this year, and I think he's not going to have. I don't know that he's going to step up that much. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I think so. I mean, you lose Tajay Spears, who's your biggest offensive weapon outside of Pratt. It's going to hurt a lot. And now, there was the rumors that the coach left, and then all of a sudden he decided he's not leaving. So I think there's a little bit of turmoil there. You lose your best offensive weapon. Tajay Spears just absolutely was a menace for USC, and most of the teams they played last year. So you lose him. I don't know a whole lot about the wide receiver core. I know they lost a wide receiver. I don't know, if it was their big, top wide receiver, but they lost some guys, lost a few guys on the defense. I think we'll see them kind of have a come back down to earth type
They're not
season.
going to win the Cotton Bowl this year.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. Easy bet. So I know you put it in the notes. I know you probably want to talk about it. Brent Venables still getting a lot of heat.
Yeah, I mean, it was a couple weeks ago. I think I was a little more heated about it. Yeah, I mean, you coming at my boy, we're gonna have problems type thing. But I mean, the fact that he was getting all the hate and stuff for what he said about Colorado, and then he takes a shot at Miami. It is what it is. I mean, all he was doing was stating the fact of how they went about the coaching process, of him keeping, giving the guys a grace period compared to Deion Sanders, basically going in there and saying, all right, everyone's got to leave because I don't want you type thing, pack your bags, whatever. And the fact that everyone made it into this huge ordeal, like, oh, he's taking a shot at him. Then you got Colin Cowherd in there and these other guys, or no, it wasn't Colin Cowherd, it was Mike Wilbon, trying to bring other aspects into this, like, they're hating on Deion because he was black, and Coach Venables was, going at him for his race, and it wasn't because of football and all this other stuff. People trying to, what happened is everyone saw Oklahoma, the recruiting train that they're on right now, the steam they're picking up. Everyone's trying to knock them down a peg to maybe sway some of these recruits. And I think that's a lot what it was. I mean, same with the guy from LSU, him saying that Venables single-handedly went in there and destroyed the culture that Lincoln Riley built. Well,
Lincoln Riley's culture was bad.
Yeah, we all know as OU fans it was completely different, flip-flop. He went in there and is now trying to build up the culture that Lincoln Riley destroyed.
I sense some low-key hate would be a strong word, but Tuppy, do you like Deion?
I'm not a fan of Deion, honestly.
Okay, I can sense that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not.
That's what we got
not,
into last time.
Yeah.
Right. What's your number one beef?
I think it's the fact that everything he does, he has to put it in front of the cameras.
Yeah.
He can't do anything outside of it. And you go in there, your first meeting with that team, and you tell everyone, okay, pack your bags. I'm bringing my baggage with me, my luggage. I got a clean house. In front of the cameras is something you could have done outside of it. You didn't give the kids a chance, to really even fight for their spot on the team. You had 60 transfers. And on top of that, some of them are guys that he actually went out there and recruited to come to Colorado with him. They left also. So I don't like the way that he goes about putting everything out out in the open on TV or on video. I saw a lot of it with his show that he had on Amazon, where he just does things so publicly when a lot of it could be done behind doors and, give those guys the respect that they deserve, instead of going, okay, well, everyone can leave, or you kick a kid off and you go, all right, everyone raise your hand. Who doesn't want him on the team anymore?
So I'll push back a little bit. If you watch Hard Knocks and you see the way that those are portrayed and the way the coaches talk to the players in training camp and the grind and the way they push these players' buttons and the way they communicate, and they literally have meetings with cameras where they fire these kids, say, hey, bring in your playbook. I think it's a little bit like that. I think it's shocking people that it's happening in college, but that's almost where I believe the evolution of college goes next, is public like this, because these kids are getting paid now. It is a job for a lot of these kids with the NFTs.
My thing is that though a lot of the hard knocks, it's forced upon the team. Most of them don't want the cameras there. Deion wants the cameras there, and that's my issue, is that you could go about it a different way. And one, also, these are 17, 18-year-old kids that some of them are freshmen that just got on campus, and now you're already basically going, okay, I'm going to take your scholarship because I want to give it to someone else. I'm not going to give you a chance to go out there and fight and show me anything.
I think that happens all the time, though, Tubbs.
Yes, it does.
Every big
but
program,
it doesn't. Not in front of the
does
cameras.
The same
though.
thing. They just don't do it in front of the camera. But
that's the problem. Is that you're doing it in front of the cameras.
But why is that a problem?
Because you're doing it for show. That's all it is. He's trying to get himself out there. He's such a me person instead of a team person. I think that he's going, well, I got to get my name, my face, and stuff out there, so I'm gonna put it on camera. Unlike other coaches that will do it behind doors and do it respectfully to the kids, instead of going, okay, sorry, everyone pack your bags, I don't want you here.
I agree.
Is my issue.
And part of it, I think, it's a catch-22. Like, yes, Deion, he's great with the camera. He's great with media. Media loves him. And so that the catch-22 of that is the media is going to be there whether he wants them to or not because of who he is. Like, if you think back to Coach Prime when he was playing the NFL, playing baseball, people always around him, camera loved him. He loved the camera. And so this, like, it's still a part of who he is. Now, I am a fan of the culture he puts up. And I get it. Like, yes, on camera in front of these kids is tough. But 1-11 is 1-11. We just talked about how Colorado's been absolute trash since they've been under Pac-12. And so he's like, yeah, I don't want your scholarship here if you're 1-11. And the culture is similar like OU. Like, we look at the stuff behind closed doors that no one talks about until now. And you're like, good Lord, just pick up after yourself. Why does your locker look like this? Why are we skipping out on these reps and stuff like that? Little details like that. You think they don't add up, and then all of a sudden you're just not disciplined as a football team. You're missing tackles. You're calling out each other on bad plays. You're like, why don't you give me the ball? Instead of what Coach Prime and Venables, they're similar. Like, they both want the same end goal. What we're seeing is a different input for that. Like, they have different methods to reach the same end goal, which is building up young men to be good fathers, good leaders, good husbands, good members of society. And then, yeah, if they get to play football at the next level, that's great. But, like, that's one of my favorite things about both Venables and about Coach Prime is that every time they talk about it, like, these kids are like, he's like, I know that 96% of these kids ain't going to the next level.
I think some of that is Deion isn't Midwest.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely not Midwest.
If you live here in the Midwest, whether it's Oklahoma or Kansas or Missouri, you understand that it is polite. It is, there's just this good nature.
Niceties.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not business.
No, but you get into other cultures, other parts of even the United States, let alone the world, but even within the United States with these regions where people operate different socially. I think Deion operates in a way that I think offends our Midwest sensibilities to a sense. And it's a little bit much.
Could be.
Yeah, I can agree to that part. To me, I think it was the fact that it seemed just so disrespectful the way he went about it. And I get the 1-11 argument and everything, but how much of that is going to be on the coaches for the culture that the former coaches that built that culture of a losing culture, and you didn't give those young kids a chance to, buy into the winning culture that Deion's trying to build.
If they win 7 or 8 games, Tubbs, what's your take then?
I don't think they win 7 or 8 games. I'll say they win 4. But, I mean, I still probably will stand on the same thing, is that I don't like the way he goes about things. That's my biggest issue with it is the way he has to – I feel like he has to put it out there, for everyone to see, instead of, taking it back and, taking the kids aside and saying, okay, this is what's happening. Sorry. I hope you find somewhere else, instead of just going, well, I've got my baggage coming with me. You guys need to pack yours. I don't need you in my house.
So hypothetically speaking, they go to the end. They do it all.
Yeah.
Deion makes it happen.
I would just. I told you, Tubby. I mean, it's not going to happen.
Well, how would you feel, Tubby? What would the response be if they do? Like, hypothetically only, right?
Maybe
No, it'll still be the same thing. It's not that I don't think that he can put a good program together. It's the way that it's the stuff that I do, outside of it, that I just don't agree with the way he handles certain things. It's
He's
nothing against
praised amongst
about
his
all that other
colleagues.
stuff.
He's praised amongst his colleagues for being a man of integrity, for being a family guy, for promoting family within. When he was at Jackson State, it was family. He took care of people. He took these kids under their wings that didn't have any kind of mentor or father figure, whatever you want to put to that. And he helped them become better men. And so he's got this track record of that I think he'll still bring. But I think the first press conference just got you, Tubby. It's got you all.
Oh no, it's not even. It actually went back to when he was a coach in high school.
Yeah.
The way he allowed his his high school students, the way he allowed them, players, the way he allowed them to speak to the rest, and pushed it off like it was nothing. You go out there and cuss out the guy and get in the ref's face and stuff. I think that that's where I really started going, okay, maybe that I don't like the way he does that. Then stuff with the Jackson State where he literally has his team raise their hand. Do we want this guy on the team anymore? In a press conference, in front of the cameras and everything. And they said no. And he's like, all right, get your crap out of here. I don't want to hear from you anymore. Just get out. It's the way he went about it. And I just.
How are you defending this man?
Hold on. I'd just like to point out, I feel like Coach Carter did the same thing. Did
you say Coach Carter?
Yes. What a great
Samuel
movie.
Jackson?
Yeah.
The hypothetical film that never really happened?
What? No, it's a good movie. All right, hold on. We gotta get this something else. We're gonna stay on this way too long. All right. So, just a quick trivia question: who was the last team to win back-to-back national champions? As in college football. So
Who's the last back-to-back
coach? Three-peat team. Team. It's not easy.
This isn't recent at all.
It's not recent at all.
Mm-mm.
Florida Gators.
Florida Gators, incorrect. That's your guess.
I just wanted to
They did win back-to-back, though.
Shit in the dark. I knew they did. I just didn't know I thought it was a three-peat.
The only one I can remember in the last 2 decades would be
It's not last 2 decades.
LSU. All right, it'd be before that. So,
Before that. Guys, it's almost 100 years ago.
oh, Notre Dame.
Oh, wow.
No.
Incorrect. No. Tubby, you haven't guessed yet.
UCLA.
That does my guess, and I was going to say Tom Osborne in Nebraska, but
That's a good, yeah. No, it is a Big Ten team, though.
Ooh, Big Ten?
Yeah. Guys,
Ohio State.
Nope. This blew my mind when I saw it. It was in the 30s.
Northwestern.
Was it named something differently?
No, it's a state. It's a state.
Texas?
No,
is it Penn State?
No.
No.
Big Ten?
All right, yeah, it's Big Ten.
Iowa State?
Okay, no, it is Minnesota.
What?
Golden
Okay.
Rivers, baby, like the early 30s. Like
So like when
30s.
no one was playing football. They
So-
still against.
Yeah, they were playing football.
1936, the first AP poll came out. Minnesota was ranked number 1.
There you go. Yep, they were dominating. I'm just saying. So
Have the other states been formed yet?
That's true. It's all- Sorry, Hawaii. We didn't get the chance.
Alaska either, right?
All right. So I'm curious. Looking back, tell me who. We're going to switch to some NFL news here. Who's your favorite player growing up?
My favorite player growing up, Brett Favre.
Okay, so we got quarterback. We got Brett Favre. All-time champ. Who was yours?
Tony Dorsett.
Tony Dorsett, running back.
Yeah.
Cowboys. Bro.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. That's fine.
Wes Welker.
Wes Welker, wide receiver. All right.
What do you mean? What is that
Of
face?
all people in
A
history,
wide receiver that made me feel like I could be a part of the game
you
too.
can do it.
He stood up on the field and he made something of himself.
He did. He
That's
did.
great.
And then he was cool with Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah.
It was a great dynasty. I mean, politics aside and everything, great
It's
team.
a great Netflix special right there with the Florida Gators of that time. So here's mine. It was Barry Sanders, was the first player I ever loved in the NFL. Running back.
Did you tell
So
him?
I saw him in person.
I had that.
I'm old enough. I watched him play when we used to run the aisle at the Metrodome in Minneapolis. That was my job in college. I was literally a block away from the Metrodome, so I got a job there. Ran the stairs of every game, and I got to see him twice in person. I remember while I was selling and running the aisles, if they were on offense, I would stop. I wouldn't sell, and the dude was just amazing, absolutely incredible.
Would you say he's the greatest running back of all time?
Yes.
Oh,
100%.
wow. Okay, that could have been.
From a talent
Really?
standpoint, he played for
he
the
would have
worst
destroyed
line. He played for the worst line, the worst quarterbacks, the worst owner, like all of that. And that dude could make something out of nothing.
Subby, who's the best of all time? If it ain't
Barry
Barry.
Sanders.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very.
I think
You look at-
number 2, it's Jim, is it not?
Yeah, Jim Brown is number 2 for me. But you look at the numbers. What, he played 10 seasons, and the numbers are staggering. That he's that close to the all-time record. In just 10 seasons. Just think if he plays, 12, 13, 14 seasons, he's probably all-time leading rusher. Emmitt Smith, even though he played 15, 16 years, wouldn't have been able to touch it. The amount of yards and stuff he put up in, like all-time champ said, against with one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL at the time. He made things happen.
So
That's awesome.
like I always go down these bunny trails thinking about these players who are so good then,
Yeah.
right? But Barry Sanders today in his prime,
Yeah.
could he still do it?
Oh, yeah, because the
Mhm.
offense is even more spread out.
Yeah.
The problem is, and you're going to like this, he wouldn't get the contract, so we wouldn't have seen him more than 5 years.
He would have been washed up.
I wrap it around is because that was what the leading question here is. The running backs feel like they're going to
We
put
don't need
together their own union almost, and then Saquon Barkley chickens out and signs for $900,000 more. But Dalvin Cook still is not signed. You still have what's his face? Josh Jacobs left Vegas. He's like, I'm out. I'm not doing this.
Somebody else requested a sign. Who was that? It was today. Oh my god.
Taylor.
Yes.
Jonathan
Jonathan
Taylor.
Taylor. Jonathan Taylor.
wants
yeah.
to get out, and more on that too because I do have a
Dude.
thought on that. But
Yeah.
so we both have running backs, and now running backs don't matter.
No.
You don't need them.
You don't need a top tier centerpiece on an offense anymore because offenses have evolved. It's not just line 11 up and run it down your face. Those days are gone, at least for right now until it cycles back. But I don't know if it will cycle back to a full 1980s, 90s ground and pound.
All these quarterbacks are running the ball for themselves. They're like, I don't need a running back. I just need a block. That's it.
It's true.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I think a big part of it goes to the fact that the average lifespan of a running back in the NFL is 3.3 years. So even if it's, you're a second, third round pick, you're barely making it to the end of your contract, your 4-year contract.
Mm-hmm.
And who was it? I think it was CJ Spiller, or no, not CJ Spiller, Austin Eckler. I don't know why I said CJ Spiller. I was thinking Isaiah Spiller, but Austin Eckler is like, oh, you need a star running back to win a Super Bowl. And I'm like, it's just not the truth anymore. You look at the past 3 or 4, 5 Super Bowls, there's not a team that had just an absolute all-star running back. And that's, I think part of it is that you can find running backs in the 5th, 6th, 7th round that are, starters for 4 or 5 years. And they just, okay, next running back, 5 years, we'll draft another one.
Is that unfair, though, that the NFL literally within the last 5 years has devalued that? Because I would say Zeke Elliott would be the last massive star. Yes. Okay, I'll give you
But
that.
he's been hurt.
What about Chubb?
Yeah, he didn't come in with the same height.
Yeah.
Like the
I would say
height-
Zeke got the last giant contract, though.
I was so
Christian McCaffrey,
McCaffrey.
McCaffrey.
Yeah.
he's making like $16 million a year.
Yeah. Which.
He didn't play 2 seasons.
Yeah. Exactly.
Jalen
Is it
Brown's
unfair,
making
though?
like $60 million. Just for cycling.
Who?
Jalen Brown's making like $60 million. He's the all. Yeah.
Oh,
if I
yeah.
asked you the
So-
question, who's the highest paid NBA player of all time? Who would you say? Not
Anyone but him.
Not Jalen Brown. He is now.
Yep.
Anyway, sorry.
Is it unfair? Is it unfair for running backs to now be in this era of what you said, a 7th rounder, the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Chiefs
Isaiah
won the Super
Pacheco.
Bowl and won it with a 7th rounder.
And the crazy thing with Pacheco is that the kid was 7th round draft pick. He's 24 right now. By the time his deal, his rookie contract will end, he'll be 27. Then they'll more than likely franchise him, for that extra year, and he'll be 28, and the kid will never see a big payday or a big contract more than likely in his NFL career. And it's awful because these guys go out there and they put their body on the line probably more than any position because you're taking hit every single play, whether you're running the ball or you're pass protecting or you're out, on the flats trying to catch the football. You're taking a hit every single play, and yet you're not going to see the benefits of that more than likely in your career unless you're Derrick Henry or Christian McCaffrey. Someone you get that contract, but we've seen the big contracts absolutely bust. Todd Gurley, Zeke Elliott's contract, doesn't look great now. You've got Dalvin Cook is another one. You've got these guys that recently signed these big contracts, and now teams are like, well, we saw how they worked out, so we can't give you that big of a contract.
So here's my hot take is that there's no difference between the running backs right now and your second string on the 50-man 3 roster, but your second string middle linebacker. They're making about the same kind of money right now, about $1 million a year. But who's to say that running back in today's system is any more valuable or important than your backup running back or linebacker that's got to play special teams, take the giant hits, run their butt off down the field, and come in when necessary and make a stop.
The biggest advocate for why running backs matter is quarterbacks. And the reason why the W Podcast Fantasy Football League will not be a super flex league this year, quarterbacks are trash. There are so few good quarterbacks. And I think back to the quarterbacks growing up, and I was like, there were more than just 8 of them, right? That are good.
Yeah.
And now we're down to 8 that are good.
Nah, it's the same.
It's not the same. No, there were better quarterbacks that day.
No, not all of them can
Really,
do.
man.
They all can't do what Lamar does, Burrow does, Mahomes.
But
They
that's
can't do
fantasy.
that.
That's fantasy, though.
Yeah, I'm
I
talking
mean,
about
if we're
NFL.
talking real life, I mean, Lamar can't throw the ball that great. Just be honest. I mean, he isn't that accurate of a passer, but he is a quarterback and is going to get paid no matter what. I mean, we look at
He's got
Deshaun
a
Watson.
70% win percentage. He's in the top 10
Yeah.
all the time.
What's his playoff win percentage?
Well,
Exactly. Because teams know when it comes playoff time, he can't throw the football. And so they load the box on him and make him throw the football. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, if he was able to throw the ball, halfway, like maybe 3 or 4, 5% more than what he is, completion percentage, he would be an absolute terror on the football field because then you can't stop him either way. But the fact that you can just load the box and drop in zone coverage and make him try to throw the football, it destroys his value when it comes to playoffs. And that's what I think, his contract was insane to me. I thought, some of these other guys that, had got the contracts too, same with Deshaun Watson, the fact that he got, $230 million guaranteed dollars. It's just,
Classic.
but yet you get, these running backs can't get,
What are you can do?
Come on. Here's what I'm going to say. We said it's still the same. He's not.
Good man of character right there.
Oh, man. Come on.
Is he good,
You know
man?
who they should have signed? And I'm going to say it. Colin Kaepernick. Somebody needs to give him a contract already. The man is football ready.
The man is football ready.
And then their secondary quarterback, get ready. Cam Newton.
Oh,
Oh,
God. Who's got the mute button?
I know. I actually do.
But hold on. Third string,
Oh, gosh.
RG3.
Oh, my God.
I can't even stand up.
That's a great line, Jeff. I like
All right,
that.
So here, let's see if you guys can get better on this trivia question. So, who are the best quarterbacks in the league right now? Can you give me 10 good quarterbacks?
Tom Brady.
Not in the league.
Patrick Mahomes.
Number 1, obviously.
Kirk Cousins.
You got to tell me over there. He's gonna fall into the seat.
Tom Brady. He's not in the NFL anymore.
Kirk
Rodgers.
Cousins.
Rodgers. Okay.
Deshaun Watson.
Burrow.
Most teams other than maybe
You can't
two,
tell me that
Burrow.
Deshaun Watson is still good.
Dude,
Burrow,
most
Hurts.
teams would. They gave 220
This
something
is a bad
million to
question.
him.
All right, let's go back 10 years.
Our favorite guy.
Rodgers.
Our very, very favorite guy. Come on, man.
Derek Carr.
No, what? Ew.
He's
Guy
considered
probably
very
looks
easy.
like a murderer.
Someone looks like a murderer.
Derek Carr, bro. Have you
It's
seen
the
these-
eyes.
It's the eyes.
It's the eyes.
Like every time, like when Sky, my wife, and I see him, she's like,
I think she would know.
She would.
She
Detective
would.
Sky.
no, from OU, our guy OU.
Jalen Hurts.
No, the one who slings his crotch at people.
What? Oh,
Baker Mayfield.
He's got it back. I still love Baker.
Wait,
I
why
watched
are
the-
we wrong with our top 10? You told the top
I
10.
don't. We're gonna get sidetracked. Here. Give me the 10 quarterbacks from 10 years ago. The top.
Oh, 10 years ago.
Oh.
You said today.
I know. I did.
I
I
thought you
want
said
to move
today.
on.
Oh,
I want to
Peyton
move on
Manning.
to this.
Brett Favre.
Brett Manning. Brett Favre was already out of the league.
10 years ago?
2013.
Oh my
That's not true.
gosh.
Yeah.
You insane.
No
Holy
way.
cow.
Tell me what year did he retire? I feel like you would know.
Well, I don't know about right off the top of my head.
Was that when he was doing all his illegal stuff?
Alex Smith.
2012.
20,
Maybe
here,
20.
Let me give you some of the guys. Matt Hasselbeck.
Ah.
Seneca Wallace. They weren't playing very much.
Mariota.
Chase Daniel. All right, so you said
Oh,
Hasselbeck.
Ryan.
Yep.
Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in the league. Who else did you say? I didn't hear you.
Yeah, Manning,
Cam.
Breeze,
Cam was in there
Breeze.
10 years ago.
Cam Newton. Yes. Philip
Yeah.
Rivers.
Hey.
Yes.
Peyton Manning.
Phyllis.
Peyton Manning. Yeah, guys, keep going.
Eli Manning.
Keep going. Eli.
Eli.
Yeah, 2-time Super Bowl champ. Absolutely. Tony Romo. No. Anybody?
Was he?
I mean,
Ben
Rodgers.
Roethlisberger.
Roma was.
Rodgers,
yeah.
yeah.
And,
Ben Roethlisberger.
dude, I saw his last game.
Yep.
He's like,
Okay.
we're just
This
gonna
is
play.
when Matt Stafford was still great.
Yeah.
Anybody want Andy
Andrew
Dalton
Luck.
when he was good?
Who?
Andy Dalton. They were 11-5 that year.
You
That was the
know,
Bears,
I had
right?
him on a couple fantasy teams back in the day, and he did me all right.
I'm telling you. Okay, so you got Alex Smith, Russell Wilson. Anybody? Want him?
No, never.
You didn't want
Yeah,
him.
never.
he won.
13-3.
Never.
Super Bowl champ.
Never.
Really?
That was Pete Carroll, 100%.
He was on the team. Though.
Nope.
Andrew
You know,
Luck.
the game when they threw it for Peyton
I
Manning.
will
I said
never-
Andrew Luck.
I know. I'm just saying, like, guys, how many more names have we said than what we can say right now?
Dude, I can say just as many that are quality. Nobody would ever pick Andy Dalton.
They would have when he was good.
No.
You just said for a fact. I had him on some teams and I liked him.
For fantasy, but nobody would
Okay,
pick
so you
him
want
to
to
be a
say
winning
12 good
franchise
quarterbacks
quarterback.
right now? Is that-
12 quarterbacks that you think could legitimately go win you.
Mac Jones.
But you went from 10 to 12. What's going
No,
on?
he said 12. I was just kidding.
All right.
Tubby, hit us with 3. Ready?
What about quarterbacks right now?
Right now.
I mean, you got Burrow, you got Mahomes, Jalen Hurts. I think maybe you could throw Trevor Lawrence up there now.
I would.
Yep.
Josh Allen, even
Yeah.
though
100%.
playoffs are still, a little iffy with him. Rodgers, I still think is, a competent NFL
agree.
quarterback. See,
Kirk
who else?
Cousins?
Cousins.
I mean, you could throw Cousins up there. The numbers wise, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if you get into a big time game, probably no. But yeah, numbers wise, yeah, he's the numbers don't lie after what he's done the last few years.
Who's quarterback?
Yes,
for
there's-
Trevor?
You didn't mention Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, you could throw Lamar up on
Yeah.
there. Yeah, I think Lamar's towards the bottom. I think he's probably 8 or 9.
We could throw
Right.
Baker Mayfield up there. I just think we can.
Come on,
Just
dude.
I mean,
He's a main character.
Trying to-
4 years? Yeah.
Deshaun Watson.
Yes.
I
You
really
have
don't
to.
think- I don't.
I'm out on the
2 years,
Watson.
You cannot
You
be
have
adding.
I'm out on
wait,
Watson.
wait.
You got to
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yes.
Jimmy Garoppolo wins, but
Yes.
he's not going to be on that level. Some of those
He's
guys
not
were.
sexy. He's
10
not
years.
sexy,
He is
but
not.
the dude wins, and he's actually in the top 10
But
players winning percentage of all time.
Because it's a system thing. What is he going to do with Josh McDaniels?
Josh McDaniels-
when-
Well, Derek Carr proved that nothing. But
Yes.
he's not what Josh McDaniels isn't Kyle Shanahan, where he can snap his fingers and the
Yeah.
quarterback's going to play good.
Right.
And that's what I think was going to be the biggest thing for Garoppolo is, can he play within that type of system where he doesn't have Kyle Shanahan, in his ear 24/7? I don't think so.
I think this whole Deshaun Watson.
What did Deshaun Watson do last year?
The last
Besides look
2 years.
absolute
wait, are you
awful.
talking about on the field or off the
We're
field?
definitely talking about on the
You mean allegedly, right?
Nobody's remembering that it came to a dysfunctional organization. The Browns are right up there with any other,
I thought we were talking about the Texans.
probably the worst, besides the Texans. But even with the Texans, you can't deny the 5-year run he had
Yeah.
of tremendous numbers with D-Hop and Fuller and all that. The offense they have is
do anything,
incredible.
though.
But they went to the
But that
playoffs
was-
in 2 or
That
3
was
years.
5 years ago. We're now, right now.
Well,
We,
even
we,
3
we
years
saw
ago.
Cam Newton do the same thing, win an
3
MVP, and then like 2 years later, Cam Newton wasn't an NFL
Watson's still
quality
young.
quarterback.
Watson's still young.
Still
Cam
young.
is old. Cam is old.
Oh, I'm comparing their careers. It's the same thing where he had a dominant 3 or 4 first years, and then 2 years later, after Cam Newton wins the MVP and takes his team to the Super Bowl, Cam Newton looks like a shell of a guy that can play in the NFL. And we saw that
He's
the
same
last
age as Patrick Mahomes. Tubby, Deshaun Watson.
but that
whatever
age
reason
don't
gets
matter.
traded- No, if he gets traded to the Chiefs and Andy Reid is his quarterback, you cannot tell me that we are not a serious threat with Deshaun Watson.
No.
Oh, I can.
100%.
You look at that
100%.
wide receiver group, he cannot do anything that Patrick Mahomes can do. That wide receiver group, Patrick Mahomes is the only quarterback in the NFL that could win a Super Bowl with that wide receiver group. Deshaun Watson, he would probably go maybe win 6 games, if that.
Oh, no.
I think
yeah.
he probably
Somewhere
would. I
in
don't
her
think
heart,
he would
Deshaun
win
done
a
you
Super Bowl.
wrong.
Yeah, well, maybe
Last
some of the
year,
other stuff.
did you not see what he did last year? I mean,
Look
I
at the
agree.
Browns. Look at the Browns, man. Like the coaching and the ownership is a debacle there, and it always has been.
he arguably has more talent with the Browns than he ever had with the Texans.
Outside of D-Hop.
Outside of D-Hop, you got Nick Chubb, you got Amari Cooper, you had David Njoku, he had DeAndre Hopkins, and that was it.
I don't
And
get me
then-
wrong, and we might go, but the whole point of me bringing up this question was the fact that NFL teams, the only way, like you said, will it ever like go back towards the need for good running backs? The only way that happens is if NFL coaches realize that the way the game is played at the college level and the high school level now is not developing the same type of quarterback.
Yeah.
That unless you have a Patrick Mahomes, a Josh Allen, a Joe Burrow, like those guys are the exception, and there's fewer of these guys that are like a Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger was great because he's so hard to bring down, and he just was creative and stuff like that, and he was just a perfect Pittsburgh
They're
Steeler.
the exception now, but I think they'll be the rule later.
But
I
there's
think it'll be the norm.
if you think what Patrick Mahomes does is going to be the norm.
Well, you mentioned Joe Burrow, and you mentioned
Yes.
some other players that are great. I
Yes.
think yes.
You know who had the potential to be a Mahomes though? Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Oh my
He had it up
God,
his sleeve.
What
He had it up his sleeve. They just didn't give him a chance.
He
They're
got
like,
stuck in his beard.
Let's
when
go
he
to
tried to get
Tua,
it out.
guys. Let's do Tua instead. Ryan,
Hey.
sit down.
No, my hot take, Miami. I think Miami, without Tua getting hurt last year, runs it deep and gives the Chiefs. I think then
They
it
got
can make
Tyreek
over the
Hill, man.
Chiefs.
They're unstoppable.
No.
They're the
They're way
streakiest team. Didn't we watch this last year? Like we talked about, like they would win 3, they'd lose 4. They win 4, they'd lose 5. They win 5. That's what this team does. So I haven't seen the consistency from them. And part of it is Tua. But hey, good news. He took jiu-jitsu lessons, so he can another ball.
I will say, deep down from the bottom of my heart, I hate Miami so much.
What?
I want them to
Why?
It's just growing up a Wes Welker fan, watching the
yeah.
Pats play Miami.
Right.
It was just one of those things.
You
that
were
just,
never
like,
a
made-
threat.
Man, it's just so whenever I played Madden on my own, I'd always lose them. Because that's also part of it.
You didn't just
Listen,
back then
man,
you could
I didn't play
highlight
rookie.
receiver
I
in the
didn't play
zone.
rookie. I played like
That's true. Just so you know, Chubby, like any game that we get, like campaign, like if we're playing Call of Duty, Joe the Bro is only playing on the realism, and then he's gonna be in like an hour and a half. I don't get it, but that's what it
Nice.
does. So same thing on Madden. I think he turns the sliders all the way up.
only
If you look at a defender, you throw an interception.
I love it.
What do you think of the rookie draft class of quarterbacks? Because over here, Mr. Naysayer is saying that we're not
This
going to
year-
have.
next year's different. Next year, there's what Caleb Williams could be. What you're talking about with Patrick Mahomes, Caleb
Right.
Williams could be, but
I think when the Titans wake up to who they've already drafted, their
Malik
second
Willis?
Malik
Who?
Willis. man.
He's
horrible.
Horrible.
Stop it!
He's trash,
I
dude.
drafted him last year, so I'm just hoping.
I did too. I did too.
No.
I was like,
He just looks
No.
so good. Make him a running back like they should have done to Tebow, and he would have been something. That's all I'm trying to say.
right.
No.
I know Tebow.
Yeah, no. I'm out on the Malik Willis.
I'm with you, buddy.
I was so against that, especially when it came to the draft last year when we had our draft special after the draft and all that stuff. I was like, or it was before I was talking about how everyone had Malik Willis on this pedestal, like talks of him going in the top 10 possibly, but yet everyone was dogging Sam Howell, even though Sam Howell put up better numbers against a tougher team, and Malik Willis had way worse stats against way worse competition, and they were even worse than they were the year before. But everyone was like, "Oh, just look what he can do. And now we're already seeing where they had talks that he may not even make the 53-man roster.
Yeah, I would be surprised. Yeah, I think they already have 2 quarterbacks on the roster, and one of them's Tannehill. Like, that's the problem if you can't beat out Tannehill.
That's a good quarterback right there. He should be up on that top 12.
He's definitely down on the list. He's a wide receiver. Good Lord.
I have nothing to say. That's a worst take of the night.
You know what was incredible though? When the Pats would always have their wide receivers throw, like Edelman.
Yeah.
When, he used to be quarterback back in the day, so he'd jump in the role just to make it happen. Dude, that was always so good.
Yeah.
Anytime a team can pull that off. That's why I love Fitzpatrick, and he could have been great. That's all I'm saying. I'm done.
Could have been great.
He did win. It's magic.
Dare you. He's a good analyst now.
Aaron Rodgers took a pay cut of $35 million. How much of that's going to a running back?
Yeah.
$35 million is a lot.
Yeah.
Well, if you pick up Taylor, pretty good chance.
What are they going to do with all that money? Did they do that just to get through cap?
He put it in a way that was saying, nowadays we're seeing more superstars get traded, and so if someone comes up on the trade block, a la Devontae Adams maybe trade deadline is what I think they're hinting at. But as a Packers fan, I take huge exception to this, and I feel like I have every right to be mad because you kept the Packers in cap purgatory for the last how many years. You wouldn't take a cut, pay cut. You couldn't decide what you wanted to do, and we lose Devontae Adams because of it. And now you're willing to automatically just go, okay, I'm going to show up for to mini camps, non-mandatory mini camps and all this other stuff. Take the huge pay cut for this team that I just now joined a couple months ago, but yet you wouldn't do it for the team that drafted you and you're the quarterback for 16 years. And now you decide to go ahead and do it.
He's not Brady. Brady was committed to his team for 20
He's
years.
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying Brady is like this fantastic guy, but like he stayed committed to a team through thick and thin.
Just not his wife.
No, absolutely.
Oh, no.
I think it was the opposite.
I'm sorry. He's
Dang, man. He can't even walk now.
Hey, the bigger question, Tubby, have you had a chance to see a therapist? You got some deep-seated resentment.
See, I was all fine with him leaving. I was okay with it. I was ready for the Jordan Love era to go. And then he starts doing this stuff where what he should have done last year when he needed to show up and actually work out with the rookie wide receivers to build a rapport with them. Take a pay cut so they could keep Devontae Adams and they didn't have to throw three rookies. But yet now he's going to do that with this team and show up to the non-mandatory mini camps. He's going to take a pay cut, but yet he couldn't do that last year because of why is my biggest.
Kind of an Okie fan when watching the Thunder and whatnot. Just as we did with Durant, we need to burn that jersey, man.
Burn it, man.
We're gonna tell Rodgers.
I don't have Rodgers jersey.
Let's go. Yeah. I think that makes sense. Part of it, I think, for Rodgers, this is just fresh face syndrome. Like, oh yeah, I love it. Everything's perfect in New York. Hey man,
Everybody needs that. Everybody needs that, though. That's why we all switch jobs eventually.
Yeah.
And then they go 8-9 and miss the playoffs.
But nobody gets mad at me for switching a job, but we get mad at Rodgers, who was
I'm not mad that he
the
switched.
hero for over a decade of Green Bay. Kept him on the map when their team would have just disappeared after Favre.
I'm not mad that he's gone. I'm mad that the way he went about it is that you could have done this and got your team more weapons throughout, because you whined and cried about, they didn't get me any weapons or this stuff. Well, then you take 2 wide receivers from the Packers with you, because obviously I guess he didn't have weapons there. I mean,
why would you? Though he was enlightened this summer.
Here's the thing. He
the
was
extra,
in darkness.
It's the extra screw you.
Submerged in darkness.
You get light.
He's gonna wake up one day and realize I'm in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Hey, does he still work? That's all I care about.
I actually don't know.
I haven't seen him.
think so.
I haven't seen him.
But maybe he did that, as Tubby's saying, all those things that he did to the Packers as an extra screw you. I mean,
maybe
that's what Brady did to the Pats.
Yeah,
taking Gronk out, and Gronk's like, wait, I'll come with you.
True.
You know what I mean? Maybe it's all
but
intentional.
at least Gronk was productive. I mean, you grab and complain, you go out and grab Alan Lazard, who statistically is one of the worst at tracking catch percentage and stuff like that last year, and you bring in Randall Cobb, who's maybe 40 years old himself. I don't know, somewhere around that. But yet you had no weapons in Green Bay. but you just took two of their wide receivers that were in free agency. Yeah.
So did you guys? I just get so frustrated with sports reporting when they don't say anything. All right, so Joe Burrow, when he pulled up and he hurt his calf, apparently did not look like a calf injury. I've never seen someone pull up with a calf like that, but it's fine. They literally interviewed Adam Schefter, I think. It's Schaefer. Sorry.
Shaver.
I think it was him. I could be wrong, but ESPN, who has just gone. I feel like growing up, ESPN was the epitome of sports. Like
Still watching.
I know, but like it's not the same. Like
No, they fired 3/4 of their entire staff.
But then Adam is. I think it's Adam, and I apologize if it's not. I hope he's not listening to the show and thinking that. I didn't say that. No, Adam Schefter.
Schaefer. It's Schaefer.
It's Schefter.
I've literally done exactly what he did. I've said nothing in 3 sentences. He goes, Joe Burrow pulled up, rolling up right, pulled up, he hurt his calf. So what we know so far is that on the play, he didn't get hit, he pulled up on his calf. And then so what happened was the receiver went out for a route and he pulled up and his calf was hurt. He was taken off on a cart. The cart did come out and pick him up, and then he rode away on the cart. He said that kind of a sentence. Literally, I'm not kidding. 3 sentences, the same thing, rearrange the words. And they just let that air like it was no big deal.
These guys are pumping out content.
It's bad content. That's why the W Sports Podcast exists.
Wow, you got me out here tonight.
So it's even better.
So Joe Burrow is trashing. Like it's not that big.
He had a sleeve already on his leg. That was the interesting part to me.
Yes.
Yeah, Zach Taylor is lucky he has a job, because if he would have tore his Achilles, because day 1 of training camp, Joe Burrow hurt his calf, and they let him practice day 2, and then pulls up again. Even worse. I'm like, that's almost exactly what happened with Kevin Durant, where he pulled his calf muscle. They let him play, and then he tears his Achilles.
Yep.
And he's so lucky that didn't happen, because their season would have just been a wash.
What's the time frame on healing? 100%.
There's I don't know if he will ever be 100% this year.
Right.
Just
so what happens? What's your prediction on their team?
I mean,
it depends.
I don't know. Sorry, go ahead.
Jimmy, you're on fire tonight. I love it.
There you go.
It just depends on like what he can get to. If he can get to 90%, 80%, they're still going to be a competitive team, because Joe Burrow can do things that a lot of other quarterbacks outside. I didn't say he was, or maybe, I don't know. Maybe the conference championship game, he may have been a little dinged up. He did take quite a few hits before he got to the Chiefs, but I mean, he's still going to be a dangerous quarterback, because Joe Burrow.
Is it his right leg or left?
It is his right leg.
His plant leg. He's toast. You can't plant and throw a 40-yard rocket.
A lot of people said that Mahomes wouldn't be able to do that with a high ankle sprain. What do? He takes his team to.
But that's Patrick Mahomes.
It's Patrick Mahomes.
But yeah, Patrick Mahomes was maybe 65% healthy. You take an 80%.
All those
did
guys
90%.
Though that a high ankle sprain is totally not the same as a pulled muscle. In fact,
it's worse.
Tweak it. No, they said it'll hurt.
Oh no.
But they said the recovery. They said if it was a shorter halftime like normal, he might have not gotten through that pain cycle. But the experts are saying that when you have a high ankle sprain, it hurts bad at the beginning. But even that same game, you can come back and manage it as long as you don't tweak it the same way. But there's no integrity issues.
Rodgers did it with a tweaked calf multiple times.
Did he? Okay.
It's the high ankle sprain is it takes longer for you to heal. Yeah, maybe the hurt factor maybe not be as bad as the calf muscle. I wouldn't know exactly. I'm on that part, and you probably are correct. I don't. I mean, I've got a bad knee. Does that count?
I read it on the internet, Tony.
Hey, no, I'm not saying you're wrong at all. I'm just saying I know recovery time for a high ankle sprain can be anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks.
Right.
Just because it depends on the severity. And I know Patrick Mahomes was pretty bad, but like you said, maybe the pain tolerance is a lot easier with a high ankle sprain than it is a calf muscle. That I wouldn't know.
Tougher, man. Joe Burrow
I was
is
just
like
about to
Macaulay
say that.
Culkin. He's Home Alone Part 2. He doesn't have the tough gene like Patrick.
I've
I don't
seen-
know that man took a lot of hits last year in the playoffs and kept on getting back up and playing with an absolutely abysmal offensive line.
You sound like the Chiefs hater.
I'm not.
I know. I'm giving you a hard time. I'm sorry.
I picked the Chiefs to
You did.
when everyone was naysaying because Patrick Mahomes was hurt. I was there saying, "Oh no, you can't ever count out Patrick Mahomes." So
That's true.
I'm not trying to say one or the other is worse or anything. I'm just saying that 80%. If you're 80% for most of the season, I think that's a win.
In the NFL, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because have you guys watched the quarterback thing on Netflix, the little series?
I was
And
going
they're
to
like-
ask you guys that.
They're like, after the first week, you're never completely healthy.
Yeah.
Like they showed Patrick Mahomes with that bruise on his leg, and it's like
Yeah.
week 9,
Never
and they're
knew.
like, what happened there? He said, "Oh, I took a helmet to my thigh on week 1, and it's week 9, and it's just still this massive bruise."
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That made me like Kirk Cousins.
That's what everyone
Oh, yeah.
Like,
right.
It made me like have like a distaste with Mahomes in a way.
Oh, okay. Hey,
Bro,
let
he's
us
such a
win.
crybaby.
Dude,
We're the same age, literally days apart. I'm like, all right, man, pick yourself up.
I came away thinking the same exact thing. That
What?
Patrick Mahomes looked like a crybaby in the series, but I came away
What was
as
he
a Packers
crying
fan.
about?
The whole Max Crosby thing. Max Crosby puts a forearm in him, and he's like, "Why you got to hit me? Why you got to do that?" And I'm like,
Max
"It's
Crosby-
football.
Max Crosby is
It's
one of the most
football."
chippy play- I know it's football. Max Crosby is one of those chippy players. Though. You don't want to play against him. You want him on your team,
Yeah.
but he's going to do those little pesky things.
He's a
He's going to be
douchebag.
underneath.
And
He's going to put
100%.
his hand up in your chin strap at one point. You're like, "What are you doing, man?"
He pushed him in the shoulder, and he started crying about it.
No, it was a
Don't
punk
minimize.
move.
He
It
was
a punk move.
punching. He was hitting them hard.
It's football.
Tell
You're
me,
gonna
you
get
ever-
hit.
You ever took in a shiv like that? From a 300-pound guy raging with testosterone?
I mean, I played nose tackle, and I tried to tackle a 300-pound running back. I ended up on my back.
He was a big boy. I'm just saying, it was a classic punk move that Crosby was going to. He's a Raider.
I'm just saying. I came away thinking Mahomes looked like he was crying a lot, and I came away with more admiration for Kirk Cousins as just a person. I was like, man,
I can't do
I
this.
genuinely just like the guy.
Who was the third quarterback? That's how much I remember that.
Marcus Mariota.
Mariota, right? But I don't even know why they did Mariota. Was that like we gotta have a really good guy and an okay guy, and then does
Yeah.
anyone even know what this
I love
quarterback
that about the
does?
show. They had the tiers of people in their career, even their quality of who they are as a person or talent level. It was amazing.
Yeah, Marcus Mariota fighting for his job. I think that was the main reason. Was like, this is the guy that
Did he quit on his team?
Yes.
You think so?
He
was
disappeared. Absolutely.
No. If you watch the series, I don't think he does.
Well,
He tore his meniscus and was like, I'll be there, and they're just kind of like, no, we're good.
I think they moved on. I agree with you, Tom.
Yeah, that's what I got from it. That
everybody
he
gave
did-
me that information. I don't
that-
know Netflix.
yeah, he tore his meniscus, and they were moving on to Ritter at that point, and then
We were
it was
losing.
almost
Yeah.
it was kind of like they were like, if you didn't come back, that's all right. And then they made it out like to the reporters like, oh, he just didn't show up. He quit on us. I'm like, it's not quite how it happened.
Franchises do that, man.
They're gonna keep doing it. So.
Well, I disagree that Mahomes was whiny. I don't like that
Right.
take at all. I do agree, though, that Cousins was just awesome. Great person, great dad, great husband, great teammate. Gosh, man, what
We need to like have a poll in the chat for people to like, hey, was Mahomes a baby?
Yeah, and you have
Yeah.
0 people. I'm going to start it right now. I'm literally going to put.
Dave, if you're watching, please go vote.
Yeah. All right. So, quick question: does Jonathan Taylor get traded?
I don't think so.
Yes?
No.
You think they're going to pay him more? He's asking for it.
No.
I mean, everyone's
It's Jim Irsay.
Here's my follow-up question. Now that what's his face is gone from the Washington football team, Commanders. Sorry.
Alex Smith.
You mean the
Who
Redskins?
is the worst
Snyder?
coach? Who's the worst? Yeah, Dan Snyder's gone. Who's the worst owner in the NFL?
Jim Irsay.
Jim Irsay. So yeah, he's terrible. Like,
I was
if
gonna
I was
say-
drafted by him, I would be like, I'm out. I'm sorry.
He's
You-
kind
you
of
pull-
not even a cool guy.
No, he's not.
Like he's got.
He's trouble a bunch.
yeah.
He needs Jesus.
Yeah, pull an Eli,
Don't we all?
pull an Eli, and be like, I won't play for them ever. But then they're trying to pull this whole thing with the NFI list, the non-football injury. Where have you seen where Jonathan Taylor said, I never once hurt my back this offseason. I never once told the front office that I did hurt my back, and they're trying to put him on this non-football injury list, pretty much so they don't have to pay him.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's Jim Irsay, man.
yeah, I'm like, just the shadiness that's going on is just makes it even worse. If I'm Jonathan Taylor, I don't play another down for him, but I don't know if they trade him. This is the problem. It's
That's why I
Jim
don't have
Irsay.
respect for Peyton Manning either, because anybody that hangs with the Colts for that long, and he was their owner when Peyton was a Colts player, don't like him.
I think he was more of there for the Indianapolis city, not
Mhm.
for Irsay.
You work with the owner, man. You don't re-sign a
The
couple
owner is
contracts.
the reason Andrew Luck left.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's
Like,
that's,
It's the owner, like straight up. There's nothing about them.
Maybe Irsay was hands off with Peyton, and that's why Peyton was able to stick through it a little bit longer.
I mean, they stuck through all of his neck.
yeah, Bill Polian.
I mean-
I know that Bill Polian was huge
Yeah.
with Peyton Manning. They had a
That's-
great relationship, and so that was one of the huge things I always thought more with him
Yeah.
versus.
I bet you.
Irsay.
I think
Irsay's
that. Yeah, I think him and Tony Dungy,
Mhm.
Bill Polian, Marvin Harrison, I think is a lot of the reasons why he probably did to stay with those guys. Because I bet the way Bill Polian was, he was probably kind of like, all right, Irsay, you can have some say, but let me do my thing. And obviously it worked. Got you a Super Bowl. You had some great teams, maybe some underperforming teams, but still, at the end of the day, I think a lot of it had to do with Bill Polian being the guy in Peyton Manning's ear over Jim Irsay.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully, Jonathan Taylor's career doesn't get wasted there.
Alejandro, are your ears still sweaty with these cheap headphones you have?
Gosh, they're just
Those ones aren't cheap. What are you talking about? Those are
stuck on my head.
I know.
Wow. We'll see what happens next time you want to come on the show.
I get earbuds next time. They're going in.
Gosh, I mean, Rodgers took the pay cut. You didn't have to.
I know.
Whatever. All right, we're going to keep moving on. Jalen Ramsey tears his meniscus. He's going to miss 6 to 8 weeks. But
Good.
don't worry, they've already made a new signing. Eli Apple is a Dolphin. So
Boo.
your Dolphins, your fun
Boo.
pick, right? What are you talking about? You're
Boo.
picking them to win.
Apple's a punk,
Okay.
number one. Is
Max
he a
Crosby.
He's a KU guy, right? Was
Who,
Apple a
Eli?
KU guy?
Apple? No, Ohio State.
Apple. Okay. All right. I got you. Who was
But-
the Talib? That's who was the
Yeah, keep to leave.
Yeah. He was a punk too, but no, Apple. He's okay. I mean, but with the Chiefs, obviously we hated the Bengals, and all that smack talk that went back for a couple of years there was always Eli Apple in the middle of that. But he is good for them losing Ramsey. I mean, that's a pretty decent pickup in training camp, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's longer than 6 to 8 weeks now. It's early to mid December now that
Oh yeah,
it came out. Yeah, came out that it was a full tear, and so
Oh,
now
yeah.
it's going to be a full reconstruction instead of a partial tear where it's just a little
true. Yeah.
sew up here and then you don't do much heavy lifting, moving, shifting, or whatever. But yeah, now it's even longer. I think they, at least for them, they did draft Cam Smith, who was one of my more favorite cornerbacks in this draft. So there's that. I think that he could turn into kind of what Jalen Ramsey is, that same type of dog where I'm the alpha male, I'm the best corner there is, even if maybe not, but he still has that kind of air about him. So maybe he'll be able to pick up some slack as a rookie. But yeah, they got some injuries in that secondary right now. That they showed a list of the cornerbacks that are hurt for training camp, and it was like 9 guys.
For the Dolphins?
Yeah,
Wow, didn't see that.
I don't know if they've been all their roster cuts, but still, it's a lot of guys.
Yeah.
It's that heat in Miami. And she'll
Same
get
heat up in St. Joe that's crushing all of the cheese players right now that are going down with season-ending injuries.
I can't
Lots of
imagine.
injuries going around.
I know. I can't imagine why they're still practicing outside at this point. I wanted to play in the weather.
What do you mean practice outside?
You have the money. Make an indoor facility.
You got to play outside.
I agree. I think indoor dome stadiums are annoying. They make fans too comfortable. Comfortable fans don't cheer as loud. They're not as engaged in the game. So I don't want a dome. I want to see the Super Bowl in the rain. And
What
snow.
you want them to do is an indoor training facility with simulated weather.
Oh my
They
god!
got the money, man.
Hey, hold on, guys. We've seen the product of indoor stadium with simulated grass, and it was terrible.
And it was.
So,
I loved it.
I loved it.
Well, we did win. I mean, it worked out pretty well for us.
I was in the stands.
Yeah,
Remotely.
Yeah. It's like the NBA for a while back. But did you guys have any other thoughts before we move on to some baseball news? I know King County is what you said
Yeah.
with your
King County. Shout out to King County Cougars up in Chicago.
Shout out to
Summer.
my favorite cards, Albert
Yes.
Pujols. We love you.
Yeah, so we'll move on to some baseball unless Tubby, there's any other football
Is
news.
there anything else we can talk about?
Literally.
Anything.
The WNBA is happening right now.
Yes,
It is.
WNBA.
I
Brittany
think
Griner went back to Russia, I heard.
she didn't
No,
go back to
she
Russia, but
didn't.
she is taking two games off for mental health. I did hear that. So she actually was in the news.
Oh.
Okay, we should probably talk about that.
We just did.
What about cornhole?
I don't think it's in season.
Did I-
Esports? We can talk about esports.
All right, so
Did I
in
tell you?
base-
No, this is true, Jimmy. My college roommate, my freshman year, his father was the Canadian national badminton champion. So that's a big deal. We should probably talk about that.
What do you do with that kind of swag? When you're walking around the dorm room, you just
Yeah,
like,
all the ladies, dude.
One of our listeners,
all
Colin, is from Canada, and his cousin actually, I think he's telling me, won a gold medal in curling for the Canadian national team in the Olympics.
Man, I love Canada.
You
You got Justin
Canada-
Bieber, Avril Lavigne. Like, name someone else.
Winehouse,
Drake.
Winehouse,
Winehouse.
Drake.
Drake.
That's right.
Any other
Post Malone.
Posty?
Yeah.
Really? I thought he was from Texas.
Alec O'Neal.
I just smacked my face on. Now I'm all tangled up.
Yeah, those are really good headphones. You should be careful.
Dude, I'm telling you, I'm boycotting.
It's only doing that because we're going into baseball.
I'm
And
like
he's a
my
Royals
ear sway
fan.
on you.
Can I give you more baseball, though?
What's that?
I can't wait to see the Royals destroy the Cards.
Oh my gosh, we are going to that game in a couple weeks, and I'm going to be really upset.
Can we talk about the team that's sweeping the nation right now? Didn't the Royals literally just sweep?
Dude, they did. Your Dodgers.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah. We played really good on the road, then sucked at home.
Against the Royals?
Dang, but at LA?
Oh no, the Royals didn't play in
Wait,
LA.
who did? No, you
the
played the
Royals.
Reds. I'm sorry. That's my
Yeah,
bad.
yeah. We got beat by the Reds.
Didn't we sweep the Twinks?
I can pull it up here.
Which, by the way, has anybody checked out the Central Division record?
We should not be doing that.
The Twins are winning with like barely above 500 ball.
It was the Twins. That is correct. Yeah, and
Look at this. I don't even like baseball. They do that, Timothy.
I'm sorry. I was thinking about the Reds sweeping the Dodgers, and I was upset about it because I picked them to fall apart.
I know it's money to lose, James.
I know. Yeah, we got the Orioles are clearly actually for real.
The Orioles?
Yes,
I'm not buying.
Are actually for real what?
they're real. They had the best record. They don't have the best record in baseball, but they are.
Aren't they like the Browns of the MLB?
Not anymore. Dominating.
No, that young team.
64-41.
that young team they got, it's gonna be scary, really scary in the next couple of years.
Yeah, Ripken still has that streak going. It's
Oh my gosh. I just feel like we should have. That's why we started with football, and I don't know that we would have gotten past baseball much. In some of the news, we'll go over some of the trades because next week we'll break down some more of the trades.
did we
Just
not
'cause
warn
the
you,
trade
though,
deadline is over.
Timothy?
You did.
Alejandro, I both, Tubby, we warned James, like when you get to the baseball, you better be ready because we're bringing it.
Bringing all the key info. Yeah.
I
So
think this is the year the Cubs go all the way.
no. Dude, and Cody Bellinger, what's up with Cody Bellinger? All of a sudden, he can't not get out. He looks like David Ortiz in 2013 World Series.
Oh, you better back up. David Ortiz is a legend.
My kid has a Bellinger baseball signed. He went when he played down in Oklahoma, I believe.
Oh, well,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. He has a baseball.
Yes.
It's worthless.
Medicinal value.
I was counting on that for college. It's worth nothing.
Oh, no.
Gosh.
Toby, how do you feel about it?
Feel about what?
I don't even know. But
Yeah, baseball.
how do you feel about baseball right now?
I mean, we're getting into the real competition of it. You got second half coming. You got some real tight races already. The wild card races, I think, are going to get really interesting to see what happens, especially with some of these teams we thought would sell at the trade deadline are now buying.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, the Cubs, we all expected Bellinger, Stroman, Smiley to get traded. Well, now they just traded for Candelario.
Mm-hmm.
Same with the Padres. We expected Snell, Hader, a couple of these other guys. Even there were some rumors that Juan Soto could get traded, and now they're starting to win and they're starting to push for a playoff. So there may be buyers. I think it's going to get interesting with those wild card spots. What happens, because we're seeing teams that started out hot like the Diamondbacks, starting to fall apart now, and who's going to
they need bullpen help so bad. They also need another starter, but they're not doing that right now. So I think I think you're definitely right. Cardinals are sellers, Pittsburgh sellers.
We got rid of Nicky Lopez.
I did see that. That was like when a friend of mine said, "Hey, we just traded Nicky Lopez from KC." I was like, "Good, he's not."
Yeah, he's not good. Yeah. And he was a big name here. If you live in Kansas City, he is a big name.
Yeah, he had that really good rookie year, and everyone thought
it was hot on him. But then when you got to realize the Royals drafted him, so it can't be good.
Accurate.
So
I'm just really excited for the Yankees to go all the way.
I'm rooting
They're in last in the division.
I'm rooting for Boston.
I mean, they have a winning record. I hate Boston.
I think Boston's going to surprise everybody.
Do you? Are you
Boston's
buying
strong.
Boston? He's shaking.
I'm buying Boston.
I'm not buying Boston. I think there's 3 teams ahead of them in that division that are better than they are, and then it's gonna be tough for them to get in the wild card. Just Toronto,
I agree.
Orioles, the Rays are all better.
Yeah, and also the Astros or the Angels.
Yeah.
One of the two. They'll have to beat them out too.
Can we not do anything about the Astros?
I would love to keep plunking them with baseballs and suspend all their players.
Why can nobody has solved what they have? They have something no other team has. Their farm system.
It's called a wire.
It's what?
It's a wire. It tells them what pitch is coming.
That's not true.
It happened.
It may be, but
No,
not maybe. It happened.
okay. But
Yeah, we don't want to get on this.
Their farm system is absolutely light years beyond any other team in MLB. Nobody can do what they do.
Well, they do a lot with advanced analytics. We saw that with players like Garrett Cole, who was terrible with Pittsburgh, came there. They said, throw this pitch instead, hold it this way, and then you'll be better. And then he got a massive contract with the Yankees.
So why don't teams do that?
I think some teams think they can do it their way better. Cardinals, they're wrong. And used to evolve past that. The Dodgers are there. They are.
Have you told them that?
I've told them very, very much with all of the podcast episodes I can talk about the Cardinals.
Can we talk about Salvador Perez though?
I think they should
Trade him.
They should
Whoa, he could veto it though.
Trade him.
He shouldn't be. I think he likes Kansas City.
Where's
I think
he
he just
gonna
loves
trade to?
Kansas City.
He likes it because of Empanada Madness.
He
He does.
There.
Tubbs, there's
Yeah.
an empanada place in town that Salvador is known to party at and hang at. We went there this last weekend, and it was awesome. Or as
Yeah.
the kids say, fire. It was
It was
It was
pretty
fine.
lit. Yeah.
Tubbs,
Yeah.
for the NFL fantasy draft this year, would you mind flying over here or driving over here just so that you can be a part of a live broadcast? I think that would just make live fantasy even better.
We might have to do something like that. We'll see.
I mean, I'm only a few hours away.
It's true.
When's the last time you have been to Kansas City?
Never.
What?
We would love it.
Number one,
Never.
we got to play disc golf together because you told me you would.
Scout's honor. I'll play.
Awesome. I can't wait, man. We'll have a blast. Second of all, man, KC's where it's at, dude.
Well, I'm not a big city guy. I'm a small town.
Oh, then
I'm-
Kansas is great. Come hang out with James. That's pretty low key right here.
Definitely not quite. But the Frisbee golf course is not in the city, so that helps.
That'll be in the country. That's why I love
Yeah.
disc golf. Is it is out there and it's just you and nature.
Yeah, say a couple days I'm good with. I can come visit the city for a couple days, but yeah,
I
I'll be
can't
back.
wait to meet you this fall. It's on.
Hey,
It's on the books.
I'll be there.
Oh, yeah, this fall. See,
This is why his favorite team is the Packers, because their stadium is in a neighborhood.
that makes sense.
It's
Makes sense.
right in the middle of the neighborhood.
Really?
That's crazy. I've
Is
never
that
been
neighborhood
there.
get up?
I've never been there.
Like, I just think about that, you know, like
No, I mean,
areas
it's
surrounding big things usually are.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
it's good.
Property value.
Are you disappointed that Shohei Ohtani didn't get traded despite some Dodger fans having Ohtani jerseys with Dodgers colors?
It just doesn't make sense to me. That one, you don't
You're
trade
winning.
the guy. You're winning for now. We saw this happen how many times where they go on these win streaks, they'll end up missing the playoffs. It's inevitable to happen. But
They were
you
probably missed the playoffs, yeah.
you do this with the odds of him re-signing not very high.
I think
And
they're
now
higher
on, I mean, I think they're higher than everyone expected. I think that him saying that he wanted to push for the playoffs, I think helps them out a whole lot when it comes to the free agency this next offseason. But you go out and you trade your number 2 and number 3 prospects for Giolito and Ronaldo Lopez, who are both rentals for half a season. Now, say Shohei doesn't resign, now you just traded 2 of your top prospects for 2 guys that more than likely may not resign either, and Shohei's gone, and you miss the playoffs. What's the point?
I need to ask an ignorant question. Wasn't it the Anaheim Angels?
Yes.
It was. It's actually the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim now.
Because I grew up
I know.
like seeing their games. I was down the street. Like,
That's
why
exactly
my mind is
what
blown.
baseball is doing. They are revolutionizing everything. The name that they've done is just incredible.
Like, they don't want to copy the Los Angeles stuff.
No,
and it just,
like this is the baseball, the future.
Hey, the Cardinals game yesterday was 2 hours. 2 hours.
is that a fast game?
Yes.
2 hours of
Yeah.
what?
Dude, 2 hours, 3-0.
Of
Better
what?
Baseball. Oh,
Another
Cardinals Cubs. So our team to beat in the AL
Astros.
before the end of the trade deadline. We'll talk about it more again next week.
Before the
Yeah,
end,
before
does
it's over.
this count now with some of the
Yes.
trades that happened? I'm going to go with the Rays. I think
no.
I think getting Savali,
Yeah, I mean that was a good pick, but like a good move.
I think he's the most consistent pitcher on that. Was the most consistent pitcher on the Guardians. He's got sub 3 ERA. What he's doing, Rays, they were desperate need of another starter after you losing a couple guys at the beginning of the year. I think puts them right back in there because that has been their biggest issue and why they've been losing those last few weeks is that McClanahan was the only guy that could really pitch, and now you throw in Savali. I know everyone's going to say, I'm sure you're going to say the Rangers.
I'm going to say the Rangers. The biggest question mark you had was pitching. They just addressed that already. They've addressed a ton of pitching.
Scherzer's not Scherzer anymore.
I think
that won't
fresh-
matter.
Guys,
Texas will Texas.
Texas will no Mets will Mets, which is what happened. to
Texas
Scherzer.
will Texas.
I think
Promise you.
Texas Rangers are the team. I didn't say they're going to win. We all know the Braves are going to win. We're not even going to have a conversation.
Is it because they have Ichiro?
You're so up to date with all your knowledge. I love it.
I remember playing
it's
MLB
the-
The Show. What year was that? Yeah.
Oh, something.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they address the issues. Jordan Montgomery is going to do a good job. Chris Stratton he's a really good arm, and it's very dependable out there in the bullpen. So I think that was a really good pickup. I just think they've done too much, even with Evaldi going on the IL, which we expected.
But how many times each year do we see this happen where a team that's, everyone makes these big trades at the deadline and then they falter in the second half?
White Sox.
I think this is and probably I don't. I think they still win the division. I still think they find a way to win the division because I don't think Houston is quite what Houston has been the last few years. They're still a threat to them, but Scherzer's not Scherzer. Scherzer's got a 4 ERA right now. Montgomery helps a lot. Yeah, I think he's a very consistent, underrated pitcher. But yeah, you lose Evalde now. I still think that they have lately. They have the second worst ERA since the All-Star break. Most ERA, innings pitched, strikeouts. They're the bottom since. And yeah, Scherzer, probably helped some, but I think we saw last year at the end of the season that this is the new Scherzer. It's not the dominant mid-2 ERA, but a 4 ERA I think is closer to what it is. And I don't think that strikes me as anything super special, even if everyone thinks it is just based off the name. But I think we see the new Scherzer. Everyone is seeing his pitches better. They're hitting. He's not locating them like he used to. And he's just not that dominant presence on the mound that he used to be.
We'll see. We'll definitely see. And maybe it changes between now and next week anyways, after the deadline. I think they're almost done, if not done. But
yeah,
I still would put them out there. And then would we all agree that it's the Braves?
Yeah.
Who are you going to say?
Oh, man. You don't think I have an assessment on who I think it could be?
Who do you think it could be? Oh, my. They're so bad. Yeah.
Hey, is this a transition to NASCAR? Is that what we're doing now?
They got to go left, right? Or is that right?
It's left.
I think it's left. It's usually left.
Is it?
Well, I mean, you get a road course, you turn right.
You can. My money's on Magic Man this weekend. And El Diablo.
I like the guy who rides.
Which means the fighting chicken or something like that.
Yeah. With the talons. Yeah.
With
The
the
claws, yeah.
Which doesn't Diablo, is that devil, right?
Yeah.
So it's nothing
Yeah.
here, it's a chicken. Interesting. Love it.
But he didn't fact check. That's the key.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah. Any other news or anything you want to hit, Tabby, before we get out of control?
Whoa, hockey. I just thought like things were hitting a stride.
They were hitting a strike, and I pulled a hamstring or a calf.
You know, if you're pumping the brakes on us.
See Joe Burton.
I feel like I'm getting censored right now.
You know what would help the Royals a ton, though?
What?
If they were to draft this guy who's kind of in the NFL, but like was a baseball player at one point too, Patrick Mahomes.
They probably would help. So well, tickets.
It would sell tickets.
Yeah, we'd actually have more than 10,000.
Or, okay,
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
follow me with this one. Could Patrick Mahomes pull a Michael Jordan? Should he take a 2 to 3 year timeout from football and go try baseball?
100.
And will he? Will he? That's an honest question. Will he get bored and will he go do that? Will he pull a Jordan?
No, he won't. Or no, he can't.
He'll do it.
I don't know if he did. I mean, he could probably. I mean, he was an incredible baseball player in high school, and his dad was,
Right.
MLB
He's got
player,
genes.
and it was, his favorite sport growing up. But
It was baseball.
I mean, I just don't know if he makes that transition.
You heard it on the W Sports Podcast. The champ,
All-time
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 champ,
champ.
said it. Could be a possibility. I wouldn't put it past him. He might get bored. 3 or 4 championships, he might go,
You
you know
should tweet him
what?
that question.
I'm going to reach out to all the tens of thousands of people to watch Major League Baseball.
The average attended MLB game was the highest it's been since 2013 on Saturday. It was like
Did they have nothing
38,000
else to
something like
do?
that.
Yeah,
Is it 'cause it's like
38,000.
hot?
No,
What
because
kind of
people
measuring stick
love
is that?
paid-
Measuring it against
paid
itself?
Paid tickets. It
Can't measure it
attendance,
against
is it going
itself.
up or down? That's a great thing to look at, especially even with stadiums that are getting
I
smaller.
just drove by Royal Stadium yesterday during the game, and it is going down.
Yeah, because of the product.
I know.
They're terrible.
They
They
are.
start every
Stadium
inning.
of an MLB
They start every inning with bases loaded.
They do.
As they're pitching with a full count.
They
And then
do.
they start every but when they're hitting, they start every inning with 2 outs. And you're like, what the heck? It's a fast
World's
game.
baseball.
I will say, every time that we referred to Tubby's Dodgers, I kept thinking we were referring to the Oklahoma City Dodgers. Like, bro, I don't know why you think it's such a great team. I've seen it. They're trash. It's like the Storm Stadium, which the Storm is, it's in Lake Elsinore, but that's where some of the Anaheim players go and play for practice. It's another team.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Look at that. Who knew that?
I didn't. I've never been to Oklahoma.
that was California.
Not true. I've been to Grand Lake, and I've
Oh,
driven through. I've never stayed. Tubby, where do I need to go? I got 2 days. Where do I need to go in Oklahoma to have a good time?
It depends on what you probably just want to go straight to Oklahoma City.
Okay, hang out in OKC. All right.
Yeah, I mean Tulsa. There's a few things to do, but Oklahoma City, you're gonna have more of an option.
Do they have a Chipotle?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm there.
Lots of Chipotle. There's a baseball stadium downtown in Tulsa called the Tulsa Drillers.
The hat. I love your hat, Tubbs.
Yeah.
That's a cool hat.
You don't have.
I did think it was the Titans for a second.
It does.
I was like,
Yeah.
wait, did I see it?
I like it.
You have your what is it? The fish one.
No, I have the city. They're the Tulsa, like they have a city week where it's like the Tulsa flag emblem is on the hat.
Yeah, I thought you had the one where they're bass fishing.
No, I don't have the
Are they called
noodlers hat.
noodlers?
Yeah.
Tubby, are you as opposed to the Savannah Bananas as much as James is?
No, I want to go see it. Honestly, I think it's
This dude over here.
True entertainment.
Absolutely.
That's see. I'm not going for the baseball aspect. I'm going for the entertainment part. I think entertaining wise, it looks fun. It looks like it is very entertaining.
You get free
Now,
tickets.
We just put James in a mood.
say as like a baseball purist, I don't like some of the rules, but I think it looks like a lot of fun.
He's getting all moody.
It's okay. So you get free tickets. You can sit wherever you want to. It's all you can eat, whatever. And you can either go to Savannah Bananas or Tulsa Drillers, and it's you pick.
It depends. Do we have anyone, having like a no? Do we have like someone making a rehab start?
Maybe.
No, I'd still probably pick the Drillers just because it is the
it's your
I- well that and I get to watch Dodger prospects.
That's true. And you're
That
Girls, yeah.
like you mentioned Cody Bellinger. I watched Cody Bellinger hit 2 balls completely out of the stadium in Tulsa.
It's nuts.
So I've seen a lot of the Dodgers prospects come up through through Tulsa and stuff like that. So I always like to.
How
True
about
Chicken.
fact, husbands that go to the Drillers games wind up getting divorced. My brother-in-law went to a game. and he got
1 for 1?
divorced.
Small
I'm
sample.
just saying.
All right.
Watch out, Tubbs.
Last question.
Oh,
Tubby.
I'm not married. I'm not married.
No, I'm saying don't do it. Don't try.
So choose the Savannah Bananas when you're married.
Exactly.
All right. So Tulsa also has an indoor football team now.
Yeah.
Arena?
Something like that. So you get that, or you get Savannah Bananas. Go.
I go Savannah Bananas.
You heard. Yeah.
Oh,
You heard it here first. The Savannah Banana.
XFL?
This
Savannah
could be-
Bananas.
We probably can't be
Bananas.
called the Savannah Banana Podcast. We might get trademark infringement for that. But called the SB Podcast from now on. How about that?
Why are you so hateful about the Savannah?
It's too much.
Is
I don't
it
like the
too
Harlem
much?
Globetrotters either. If that helps.
You don't like fun?
Dude Perfect was here this week. I think they're here tonight.
Were you the kid at Chuck E. Cheese at the party throwing a fit under the booth?
No, he was the kid who was pooping in the
And with that, that's supposed to tell that story. No. Well, guys, we appreciate everyone sticking around with us for this long episode of the Big
Yeah.
Sports Podcast. This was a ton of fun. Thank you guys. Dro the Bro, thanks for coming.
We should add Fall Guys next time. That's
We could definitely have Fall Guys. All-time champ, thanks for coming.
I loved it, James.
Definitely
Jimmy
appreciate it.
and Tubbs, thank you so much.
Hey!
man. I can't wait to play
Oh.
disc golf with you.
No, I appreciate you guys taking away your time for the night and coming on with us and just kind of talking, having debates. Loved it. Awesome.
Yeah, I will say that. I almost Coach Bear. All-time champ, you're one of the best at just pushing back. You're really good at it. So thanks, for doing that. And hot take machine over here. That's what we should
It was full of it tonight.
Hot takes.
Always am.
With that, everybody, we appreciate you listening. We hope that you'll be back next week as we start season 3 of the Daily Sports Podcast Live. Now we're gonna
See ya.
See ya. Now we're gonna have this awkward moment where Perry, you have to go hit exit, and then you have to hit in live, and then we'll start the chat.
Woo!
Yeah.
Perry, get your face in it.
This is what happens.
I hit where?
Hit the exit button.
Put your face in it, Perry.
Oh.
All right, now you see that red button right there?
The top right.
Colin, if you're in there, thanks, man. We appreciate you, bro.
He came in a little bit ago and said, "Hey, what's going on, guys?"